Hello and welcome to the Nation ASEAN Plus. I'm Jessie CHAHAL coming to you live from Wisma Bernama right here in Kuala Lumpur, the home of Malaysia's national news agency. Every weekend we bring you stories that have made the week as well as insightful perspectives across this dynamic and diverse region. We've seen some significant developments within the ASEAN bloc this week, but let's start here with Malaysia. Well, Malaysia and Singapore announced on Tuesday an agreement on a special economic zone, or the SEZ, in the southern Malaysian state of Johor, aiming to support investment and free up movement of goods and people between both countries. The Southeast Asian neighbours first agreed in principle to jointly develop the economic zone a year ago. The agreement was announced during a visit to Malaysia by Singapore Prime Minister Lawrence Wong and senior cabinet ministers. The two leaders also invited proposals for high-speed rail between the two countries, and thousands of Malaysians commute every day to small but wealthy Singapore for work and study, which causes frequent traffic congestion on the causeway between the countries, one of the world's busiest border crossings. Well, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said that Indonesia has pledged to assist and cooperate with Malaysia in its ASEAN chairmanship this year. The Prime Minister said that this was conveyed by the Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto during their closed-door meeting at a luncheon held in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday. Now, both leaders also discussed bilateral relations, particularly to enhance trade relations, investment, border cooperation and several emerging issues. Meanwhile, Wisma Putra said that Prabowo's visit reflects the special relationship between Malaysia and Indonesia, supported by strong cooperation in various fields, including economy, social culture, defence and security. Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, currently on a two-day official visit here in Malaysia, was accorded a formal welcoming ceremony at the Perdana Putra complex on Friday. This is his inaugural visit since assuming office in October last year. Malaysia's Foreign Ministry said Anwar and Ishiba are expected to review the progress of Malaysia-Japan bilateral relations, particularly in areas such as trade and investment, human resource development and energy cooperation. During this meeting, Malaysia's ties with Japan has grown from strength to strength with the elevation of bilateral relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership in December of 2023. Well, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said that the Madani government always strives to facilitate fast and effective solutions to address any issues faced by any investor. In a Facebook post, Anwar said the matter was mentioned during a courtesy call from President and Chief Executive Officer of Micron Technology Incorporated, Dato' Sanjay Mehrotra. Micron, a US-based company, is a global leader in innovative memory solutions, transforming how the world uses information. Well, the Prime Minister also said that Malaysia was now in a highly strategic position within the global semiconductor and artificial intelligence ecosystem. Defence Minister Muhammad Khalid Nordin said Malaysia aims to use its strong ties with China to foster closer relations between ASEAN countries and the Asian giant during its chairmanship of ASEAN this year. He said while overlapping territorial claims in the South China Sea pose challenges, Malaysia is confident it can guide ASEAN nations to avoid conflict with China. He also added that he hopes during Malaysia's ASEAN chairmanship, significant progress will be made in finalizing the South China Sea Code of Conduct to preserve peace and stability in the region. And Malaysia has reaffirmed its commitment to working closely with ASEAN partners to not only keep pace with global technological advancements, but also position the region as a global leader in ethical, innovative and inclusive digital telecommunications and multimedia governance. Communications Minister Fahmi Fadzil said Malaysia's ASEAN chairmanship this year presents an opportunity to catalyse efforts to drive regional initiatives and to shape policies for the rapidly evolving online space. Fahmi also said that by fostering harmonised regulations across the region, Malaysia aims to ensure over 700 million ASEAN citizens benefit from this technology advancements and lead to discussions on ethical telecommunications and multimedia governance, ensuring that ASEAN stays at the forefront of global technological advancements. Well, we're still with the Communications Minister, Fahmi Fadzil, said that Meta's move to remove independent fact-checking on its platforms will have repercussions, but it will not be affecting Malaysia's social media community anytime soon. Meta, earlier in a statement on January 7th, announced that it will scrap its 8-year-old fact-checking program, reduce censorship and boost political content on Facebook, Instagram and Threads. Its CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, said that they would instead replace fact-checking with a community notes model, not unlike that introduced by Twitter, which is now a platform known as X, back in 2021. Fahmi said the concept of community notes was based on crowdsourcing and had its own pros and cons. Malaysia's Foreign Ministry, through its Consulate General in Los Angeles, the United States, is closely monitoring the wildfires in Los Angeles that have forced the evacuation of over 30,000 residents as of Tuesday, and that went into Wednesday as well. In a statement on Wednesday, the ministry, also known as Wisma Putra, said the fires have destroyed numerous buildings and scorched nearly 1,200 hectares of the Pacific area. Now, Wisma Putra also said Malaysians residing in or visiting the affected areas are urged to exercise caution, adhere to local evacuation orders and to be informed or to stay informed through official updates. It has also encouraged Malaysians in Los Angeles to register their presence with the e-consular system, as well as to maintain close contact with the Consulate General for any updates and assistance. Well, it's time for that short break. When I come back, let's take a look at developments in other ASEAN countries. Don't wander off. I'll be right back. You're watching the Nation ASEAN Plus. Welcome back. The Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto's campaign's promise of free meals to school children and pregnant women has officially started. The program has received international attention due to its cost, which economists say could hurt Indonesia's hard-won reputation for fiscal prudence. Indonesia has cut the cost of each serving from 15,000 rupiah to 10,000 rupiah. Prabowo promoted the program throughout his campaign run, vowing to pull children out of malnutrition. Countries such as the United States and China have said they would support the program. Indonesia announced on Wednesday that the appointment of former Netherlands forward Patrick Kluivert as their men's national team coach, a move to bolster their bid to qualify for the 2026 World Cup. The appointment of former AC Milan, Ajax and Barcelona player follows the sacking on Monday of South Korean coach Shin Tae-yong. The country's soccer federation said that Culvert, who won the Champions League title as a player with Ajax in 1995, will take charge of Indonesia until 2027, with an option to extend further. Indonesia are third in their World Cup group after 6 of 10 matches, a point behind Australia in the battle for the second automatic spot in the finals, which will be expanded from 32 to 48 teams in the contest, jointly hosted by the United States, Canada and Mexico. Indonesia's government on Tuesday said that it has agreed to continue stalled talks on jointly developing naval vessels in Japan. Now, Japan's defense minister met with Indonesia's defense minister in Jakarta for more talks. Indonesia's defense ministry spokesperson told reporters after the meeting that both officials agreed to promote military equipment cooperation and transfer of its technology. Japan's defense minister, General Nakatani, arrived in Jakarta last Sunday for the Indonesia-Japan Defense Ministerial meeting and to convey the joint development proposal of maritime self-defense force destroyers with Indonesia that has stalled over the past few years. Well, Singapore's Home Ministry has introduced a new bill in Parliament that aims to consolidate and strengthen its government's powers to maintain racial harmony in the country. The Home Ministry said the maintenance of Radical Harmony Bill closely references existing legislation, including the Maintenance of Religious Harmony Act enacted in 1990 to maintain religious harmony. The bill's key proposals include the introduction of a restraining order regime to address content prejudicial to racial harmony, a community-based approach to dealing with racial incidents, and safeguards to prevent race-based entities from being used as vectors of foreign influence. Now, what will this do? It will enable the Home Minister to issue ROs against individuals involved in the communication, production, or distribution of content that prejudices the maintenance of racial harmony in Singapore. Well, moving on, the United States Vice President Kamala Harris will make a working visit to Singapore come January 15th as part of a 3-country tour from January 13th to 17th, which also includes stops in Bahrain and Germany. The trip is likely to be her last as Vice President before she leaves office on January 20th. A spokesperson for Singapore's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the visit reflects the long-standing, substantive and multifaceted partnership between Singapore and the US. During her visit, Harris will meet with Prime Minister and Finance Minister Lawrence Wong and attend a lunch hosted by Senior Minister Lee Hsien Loong at the Istana.
Most important pillars of our democracy is that there will be a peaceful transfer.
Well, the Cambodian police on Wednesday said that they had apprehended a Thai man suspected of gunning down a former opposition politician from Cambodia. Lim Kim Ya, an ex-lawmaker from the dissolved Cambodia National Rescue Party, was shot dead in Bangkok on Tuesday evening. He was killed near a temple close to Khao San Road in a popular tourist area of the Thai capital. Kim Ya had reportedly just arrived at the scene with his wife by bus from Cambodia. Cambodia's National Police said the suspected gunman fled to Cambodia shortly after he shot the victim. He was detained on Wednesday in Battambang province, which shares borders with Thailand. The Royal Thai Police could not immediately be reached for any comment, but the chief of Bangkok Police said that the initial investigation led them to believe the gunman had been hired to carry out the shooting. He declined to provide further details, citing an ongoing investigation. Now, according to Thai authorities on Tuesday, a Chinese actor who went missing last week near the Thai-Myanmar border has been found in Myanmar and may have been the victim of human trafficking. Wang Xing, aged 22, was reported missing in northern Thailand's Tak province bordering Myanmar, an area known for large-scale criminal enterprises and human trafficking organized by gangs. According to Thai National Police Inspector General, Wang was told there was a casting in Thailand, but instead was trained to scam other Chinese people. Wang has now been returned to Thailand, and his case has been widely shared on Chinese social media. Well, according to the United Nations, Southeast Asia, especially border towns in Thailand, Myanmar and Laos, has become a hub for telecom and other online fraud, which says hundreds of thousands of people have been trafficked to work in scam centers. Now, a train carrying 24 tons of frozen cooked shrimp from Songkhla province, Thailand, recently arrived in southwest China's Kunming city, marking the beginning of frozen aquatic product transportation via the Lanchong Merkon Express service of the China-Laos Railway. The pilot project represents another important expansion of the categories of cross-border goods transported by the China-Laos Railway. The shrimp will undergo strict quality and safety inspections at a local cold chain logistics center before being sold as Spring Festival offerings to consumers nationwide. The Spring Festival, the most important traditional festival in China, will fall on January 29th this year. We'll take a quick break. Do stay with us right here on the Nation ASEAN Plus. We'll be back with more. Welcome back. We continue the Nation ASEAN Plus with the Philippines. According to a Philippine official on Monday, the country has deployed air and sea assets of its military and coast guard in its exclusive economic zone to monitor China's largest coast guard vessel, calling the ship's presence an act of Chinese intimidation, coercion and aggression. According to video shared by the Philippine Coast Guard, the 165-meter-long vessel 5901, referred to by the Philippines as quote-unquote the monster, was 65 to 70 nautical miles off the coast of the province of Zambales on January 5th. The Philippine Coast Guard ordered the Chinese vessel to leave the area, warning it has no authority to operate there. In its radioed response, the Chinese ship said it was conducting law enforcement duties within its jurisdictional waters. Well, in case you missed this update, Philippine Vice President Sara Duterte will no longer sit on the National Security Council after President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. signed an order removing her office from the agency, following a bitter split between the two former allies last year. Marcos said the reorganization of the NSC, or the National Security Council, was needed to ensure its council members uphold and protect national security and sovereignty. According to the order, the Council's reorganization was also aimed to guarantee a resilient national security institution that was able to adapt to new challenges. That was signed on December 30th and released on Friday last week. The changes have also excluded former presidents from council membership and empowered Marcos to appoint other government officials and private citizens as needed. Well, now hundreds of thousands of barefoot devotees joined an annual procession in the Philippines of a centuries-old statue of Jesus Christ on Thursday in one of the world's grandest displays of Catholic devotion and expression of faith. Filipinos turned to the streets of Manila to a sea of maroon and gold and swarmed the statue, which is popularly called Black Nazarene, a life-sized image of Jesus Christ bearing down a cross as devotees jostled for a chance to pull the thick rope towing the carriage across the Philippine capital. Other devotees threw white towels at the image as marshals wiped them off its surface, believing that touching the statue would bless them and heal their illnesses. Nearly 80% of Filipinos identify as Roman Catholic, a key legacy of Spanish in the Philippine archipelago for more than 300 years. Now, lives of Laos rubber farmers have changed significantly as the China-Laos Railway helps the landlocked country break disadvantages, geographic limitations, and makes it possible for them to export an increasing amount of rubber products to the vast Chinese market. The China-Laos Railway, which connects Kunming, the capital of southwest China's Yunnan province, with the Lao capital Vientiane, started operation on December 3rd in 2021. The railway has enhanced Laos's connectivity with its neighbors and has facilitated the movement of goods and passengers both within Laos and across borders. Experts said producing rubber is not a profitable business, and China has also been helping Laos promote its technical improvement, all to upgrade its rubber industry. Vietnam's General Statistics Office, or the GSO, announced on Monday that the country's gross domestic product, or GDP, expanded 7.09% in 2024, driven by services and industrial production. The figure exceeded the National Assembly's annual GDP target of 6.5%. The services sector made the largest contribution to the whole year's growth at over 49.46 percentage points, while the industry and construction contributed 45.17 percentage points. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh, in his New Year message, said Vietnam will strive to achieve a GDP growth of 8% this year, laying the foundation for double-digit growth in 2026. Well, that wraps up this edition of the Nation ASEAN Plus. This has been your weekend insight into ASEAN. Stay informed with the Nation ASEAN Plus that happens right here only on Bernama TV. Now, to keep yourselves updated with more news, do log on to bernama.com. This will also link you to our social media platforms as well. This is me signing off. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.